What's up, everyone? It's your boy DJ Sab with the best thing ever from YFM 99.2, and you are watching Joburg Today.
Although municipal elections are scheduled for later this year, extended level 4 restrictions are hampering political parties from rallying to increase their voter base. So come election time, are we likely to see the use of technology in voting, and what does that mean for the voter? Peter Ndoro speaks to Terry Tsalani for the record.
Terry Tsalani, always a pleasure to talk to you. When we think of elections, we think of you. South Africa is going to have its local government elections this year. With COVID-19, can they happen?
Of course, the elections can happen. They've happened in quite a number of other countries. Democracy is far too important to be postponed indefinitely. It is important that those who manage the elections put in place measures to make sure that the elections do happen. Health protocols have got to be observed, but at the same time, it is possible to have the elections, whether manual or electronic, even during a pandemic.
I suppose part of the process of elections is what happens before, and that's things like campaigning and so on and so forth. And I'm sure that there's some political parties who probably think we haven't had an opportunity to do that, given the disruption caused by COVID-19.
I think it's a legitimate concern, but I think the current situation requires political parties to be a little bit more innovative in terms of reaching out their constituencies. I think relying on old methods is gradually beginning to look a thing of the past. So political parties, even though they relied on rallies in the past, it appears to me that those methods may no longer be relevant given the current environment. So they've got to find other innovative ways of being able to reach their constituencies.
Talking about innovation, we look at the United States. More than 40 million people voted. And one of the things that we saw in record numbers were postal votes and votes in advance and also electronic voting. Is this a signal perhaps that our continent and our country really need to start looking at digital solutions?
Absolutely. I think that is inevitable. I'm one of those people who've actually been propagating for electronic voting for quite some time. It will enable more people to participate in the electoral process. Currently, there are many people who are discouraged from voting, largely because they do not want to go in queue at the voting station level. Now, the more access people have to technology and to information, the more it becomes even more relevant.
I'm not sure what technology is out there at the moment, but could we have a situation in the near future where you could vote from home electronically?
It is possible to manage processes from home. Of course, a matter that has got to be looked into properly is to make sure that a vote that you get, it's actually a legitimately cast vote. No one was put under pressure using whatever methodologies to force a person to vote in a particular manner. You know, so those kind of things have got to be put in place to make sure that such malfeasance don't actually happen in the electoral processes.
I suppose one of the challenges is to convince people that electronic voting is safe, but it does seem even safer than some of the elections that we've witnessed across the continent.
Absolutely. I mean, manipulation happens whether it's manual or electronic. But electronic seems to be much safer in a sense that it is much more easier to audit the process and then to be able to see as to whether there is any manipulation that would have taken place in the process. You know, if an attempt was made to try to manipulate the electronic system, there is absolutely no way that you can actually hide it. It will be possible for other IT companies to be able to discover, you know, whatever attempts that have been made to manipulate the process.
And I would imagine, as someone who understands election management, that digital solutions such as this could also help even the election managers to educate, inform, and prepare citizens to vote, how to vote, and especially in a world where we're mobile, we've got phones that have got access to the internet.
Definitely. The importance of even to understand why you are participating in that process, how that process is supposed to be changing your life, and then how you can actually use the power of your vote to change your situation. I think it is the most important aspect about voter education or civic education process. And unfortunately, that process of empowering people to be able to understand that process and to understand that basically their vote is their power, has not actually been emphasized enough.
Do you think South Africa could roll out a digital plan this year already, or are we looking years away?
No, not this year. This year I think it's too late because the elections have got to take place from August. And if they had to prepare processes that would eventually lead to acquisition of technology to be utilized in these elections, it would take probably 2 to 3 years. And it is not possible for them to therefore be able to develop the technology and deploy it on time for local government elections.
So maybe the next national elections and provincial elections might see some kind of electronic input.
Absolutely, and I think there is no way that the Commission can avoid it. I'm aware that there are conversations currently taking place, even within the political parties, that basically suggest to the IEC that they've got to move into the digital age, and therefore 2024 elections, in my opinion, we can actually be able to deploy technology that will make it easier for people to participate in the process.